Hey, I'm still gussied up from the office job. And while I thought I'd have a discussion on the fallacy that you have to choose either one or the other, whether you're going to be a corporate powerhouse or whether you're going to be a permaculture homesteader, because you think that, you can't do both. And I really felt that for a long time, and I had that conflict. But then I realized that in fact, my corporate job is what is enabling me to urban homestead and do it stress free, and actually help me with the stress of the corporate job. And actually, permaculture in general, that whole philosophy, and especially because I'm now living that philosophy on property, really influences how I approach business, especially problems in business. So, for example, one really big thing when you're designing your permaculture homestead is choosing zones to put certain things, and it's all based on convenience. So, for example, if I'm not going to put my worm bin, at the opposite end of my property than where the kitchen is, let's say. So I have to make a huge extra trip, you know what I mean, to get the stuff in the worm bin. So instead, you put your worm bin close to where your kitchen scraps are, that sort of thing. You plant your herb garden next to the kitchen and not, next to the driveway. So there's certain things in permaculture where you take what would be a problem or a repeated extra work, extra having to walk extra 5 steps, whatever. In permaculture, the idea is to make every single thing super efficient and moving things and changing things in order to suit efficiency. So that mentality is so ingrained in me now that that's automatically how I approach business. So when I see, that we're exuding extra effort when something can be done to be more efficient, I'm, really quick at finding that. For example, in permaculture, waste is always viewed as a massive resource. So for example, if you've got chickens, the chicken waste and the dirty straw from the chicken coop you would use to make, raised beds, for example. So that mentality is actually so pervasive in me. My corporate job is actually in waste management, right? I'm in a waste reclamation company. So that's actually influenced my career. That whole mentality of taking waste and turning it into a resource, I've turned it into, a major corporation, not me on my own, my family all together. But the brand, a lot of that comes from permaculture. A lot of how I structure the business or how we manage a business or certain tasks, that's all influenced by permaculture and how I homestead. And I find that to be, well, obviously successful because we're industry leaders, you know what I mean? Because that efficiency does pay off. And again, I didn't learn that in business school. I didn't learn it from my dad who's run this business. I didn't learn it from anybody but permaculture has given me, so when everybody else is having a meltdown or is struggling with a problem, I'm usually the one that can find a way to make money from it, you know what I mean, or whatever. So, or turn it into an opportunity. And it even impacts, I do a lot of marketing in my job, and it even impacts the way I market my companies or my clients, you know what I mean? Permaculture really has a massive influence on my corporate integrity, on my perception of things, how I approach things in business. So, and it's also incredibly therapeutic. And I'm really big on telecommuting. So most of my staff telecommutes because truly I'm an introvert and antisocial. But I find that one thing that you avoid with telecommuting and having everybody in their own sanctuary is you don't get the office conflicts that arise. For example, the coworker that talks too loud, the humming, the pet peeves, the conflicts, the personality conflicts. We're not around each other enough to annoy each other. And because we all love working from home or whatever, and we don't want to screw it up, we all work extra hard to not lose that privilege, right? So it's actually been very productive in terms of people's efficiency. And I find for myself, I struggle with, post-concussive syndrome, so I have chronic pain. I have a lot of stuff, I have a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. And I think if I was stuck at a cubicle or at home or in the office, especially on the days like I can be a very tough personality, I think I could be toxic. You know what I mean? To my staff, sometimes they're intimidated by me. So I think that if they're at home, they're safe and they're comfortable. And me in my sanctuary, when things get annoying or I'm in a high pressure situation or in a negotiation, I'll take the phone and pace in my backyard because I find it peaceful, or stare out at my garden or walk through my garden as I'm having an intense corporate conversation. But being in that sanctuary in my safe place allows me to approach things from a very grounded, centered place, and therefore my conversations are far more diplomatic. Everything's diplomatic. And then when I'm frustrated, well, then I turn a tire into a planter with a steak knife. Like you've seen in some videos, or I'll go out and dig a new garden bed just because I have to destroy something. But that's great anger management. And when you're in an executive position, you need to have anger management coping skills. I don't care how enlightened you are, putting out fires and getting annoyed is pretty much 60% of your job description. So being able to cope with negativity and having a physical outlet is imperative. And I find that homesteading provides that for me, and that only allows me to be a better corporate citizen, and to be a better employer and a better employee. So anyway, that's my take. So I didn't have to choose one or the other. One complements the other in my case. Thank you, modern technology that allows for telecommuting to make that possible. Have a great day.